edition of GNL Redive, where we're going to go back through the week's content and just see what we got with a fresh mindset. With me is the Grandmaster Melga himself, Melga, and we're just going to go around and see what's going on for the week.
Exactly. We got a few surprises this weekend, so it might be pretty interesting to check what we do have.
I'm not thrilled with them just dropping this out of the blue, like on a Friday of all days, or Saturday technically, but it's there.
It is.
I guess we gotta address the elephant in the room, which is the alternate attribute full armor, which I did kind of touch on first impressions. I looked at it, and now that I know that the animations are all still identical, I got thoughts on it. It's not shattering my brain. Like stat-wise, all the way through, it's solid. It's a competitive recent shooter.
It is.
But
the attacks are good, the stats are good, and the banner itself is pretty good, which is something. I think it's a first in quite a while that we had a limited suit with a proper step up.
Yeah, and it guaranteed at the end. I mean, I'm not a fan of 5 steps being where I gotta go, but still not the worst. 4 being 71 is still pretty nice too. And then you're guaranteed a ticket at the end, just like the old Sokai revives that get alters. I am embarrassed to say.
At the bare minimum,
yeah.
At the worst case, you get 2 pieces for 7,500, so it's not bad at all.
It's not the worst. I'm embarrassed to say that I did go through the enhanced doubles data one a couple times, and that was out. And those tickets at the end were a huge help in filling out my gaps. The animations are still the same schlock we had back then. I am still very upset about the back feeling just so lame.
There's so much stuff they could have done with it.
Look at all those missile pods right there.
It's straight up the same.
Look at them. There's tons of them, and you shoot like 2 and do a flip. The flip's the most exciting part. I mean, it works, but honestly, the same opinions we had about the original 1ZXs apply here. It's good. It's a step in the right direction for more Gatling support. I mean, a big, strong Federation Gatling might do some crazy stuff in the future. I'm not mad about it. Federation itself is a little weird to be on here in retrospect. Like, it's not really a Fedi suit. The Vis Foundation made it secretly.
It isn't.
It rode along in the Argama for a little bit, and then from like.
But let's say the gear it got, the Gatelings, the missiles, the Zooks, everything came from Federation. So
I guess, yeah.
It could serve as an excuse.
Takuya raided the armory and it's a bunch of Fedi gear. I get that, but like
exactly.
It makes it a point to make sure the viewer knows that this is a rogue third-party force it's now part of. It's got Renegade, Naha Argama people, it's got Sleeves people. It's not answering the Federation, so it's weird that it's got Fed all through
it's completely out there.
Oh yeah, I guess this nerd came back too. It's still good. I was actually really surprised going back through the stats. 99 and red marks were really kind to Wing Zero Custom. I did not realize it still held up that well, even without its alter.
Yeah, the head itself was one hell of a mark whenever it got released.
It's still great stats at 99. Great raw attack and alright enough shot. We'll look at the alter later. That's something. Did this also have a guarantee? No, it also had a guarantee step at the end.
Exactly, a good step up with the and since we have the conversion of the marks at the end, so if you don't want the material suits, you can simply enjoy like 10 badges for a full step up.
I'm actually going to use these in a different way. I don't have any current plans for the BP suits. None of the build projects work for me. I'm not going to spend enough to get any. So I'm going to take the 10 materials I got off of this bad boy on the full step up of the Unicorn turn them into Wing Zero badges, and then turn those Wing Zero badges in the exchange into a skill knife or a trait nipper, whatever those are.
Really good. Really good. It helps leveling up stuff. And with the newest 25-25 traits, one level is 4%, so...
That is such a strong investment. It's really kind of bumming me out that it clowns on most of my high-end previous build project stuff with such little investment.
It does. It does clown a bit on them.
Reflecting on
the whole trait.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Starting at 25 alone is crazy. Like, just trait level 1, it is just absolutely dumping on things that I've spent months building up.
Yep. It's like you get the alteration, it's get 50 at base. Like, what level would you need to get 50 on an old suit?
Considering they start at 37, a lot.
Yeah.
With benefit of hindsight,
looking
at Sheridan, I actually just finished proofing the page on this. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a really, really great standard option. I compared it to...
I really like it.
Let me move our game over here briefly. I compared it to prior Sheridan, up and down a few parts, and actually found that Sheridan holds up pretty well against the GNHWR Elemento XY 1214.
Jesus.
Like, it has a higher base stat total for every part for sure, but some of these values on the base Sheridan actually get out a little better. It's got better melee than this one across the board. Head, for example, just looking here. I would actually argue...
It's really fairly solid.
I would almost kind of argue that some of the defenses here on base Sheridan are better than this Final Battle version.
Mm.
It's not going to have as high as attack and anything, but otherwise it's pretty comparable. You moved your beam resist into your shot defense, and that's pretty much it.
And they both have good tags to use. So if you base a suit around any of those two, you're probably gonna be okay.
I would take the base Sheridan trait over this mess any day. I just can't find myself liking advanced sniping. Buff on cast, cool. Big buff on cast, 15%. That's major. That's cool. But
yeah, it's solid and low and very low initial cooldown. Yeah. Which is solid.
Low regular cooldown, you can spam it. But the animation just bugs the shit out of me. You move like 5 feet and pop off some pistol shots, and then you just sit there like an asshole aiming a rifle. And as the game tips, as the official Twitter clip showed us over here, you just don't have armor on this thing. Let me just whip this up real quick.
You're gonna get hit and interrupted by rockets, zoom shots, all of that.
Let me bring up this beautiful 240p representation. Thanks, Twitter. Figure out where they should. Yeah, right there. So you activate it, cool, buff on cast. You move 5 feet forward and do a little pew-pew. And then right there, you can see him get hit. Like 0 armor on this, or it has armor, but 0 iframes on this thing. It seems like a lot of work and a lot of risk for C power.
I would say it's good to use at the start of a combo per se. Yeah. Like you use it to get the buff out while killing some lower level grunts, and then maybe expect they die before you get interrupted.
I gotta nitpick again. Being a buff attached to a EX skill and not an awakening or a buff, this guy does not last long. And you're already soaking up most of that buff timer on the animation itself. So there's not a lot you can squeeze in after it.
Yeah, at level 1, it's gonna be awful, but if you give it like 3 or 4 levels, with all the duration traits we have attached to buff power, it should work fine.
Yeah. And I'm not going... and the 1 to head power. I'm always going to just keep dumping on full armor double zeta bazooka's alter trait. It's so goofy. Head EX boost is the goofiest meme. I'm not trying to diminish the value of C power with a 15% buff. We've seen that before in Extreme Eclipse 10th, and we know
Yeah,
that absolutely slaps. That buff on
it
cast is
does.
just a monster with the X of full burst. Actually, that starts at
Yeah,
whoa, that starts at 30. Oh
yeah.
goddamn, never
That
mind.
that one is completely crazy. It's on a league on it of its own.
I thought it was 15 or 20. Yeah, never mind. Sheridan, you're a loser. Get out of here.
But it has lower power. At level 10, it's a C minus. So
Granted,
while yeah, 15% buff carries it. The
15%
30%
is
buff carry. Yeah,
just starting base 15%
39%.
higher is a whole ass trait slot
It is.
for buff
It
up.
is.
Ooh. And it's a Jirobi, so you can double that thing with your limit burst. I'm gonna go back and revisit my
Exactly.
old friend X of full burst pretty soon. I think I need to give it another fair chance.
It's a good one. You can make a lot of fun combos with it. Also, they can. And the fun thing is that this had can work with that pack together because one is an awakening and the other is not. So if you can chain them,
Extreme Eclipse is an awakening. It does trigger your wings and the other
it
extreme
is.
parts. Yeah.
Oh, wait, Karadin head is an awakening too.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
Trans
Activates
Am.
Trans Am.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, they unfortunately
Here I
don't
was
play well
having some
together.
hope.
Otherwise, all the way through this thing, the stats are damn solid. High armor, high shot defense, high shot. Funny enough, its melee stats across the board are weaker in its previous version. So I guess Lyle learned to, embrace the sniping role and stop trying to be a special snowflake. You're
Yes,
actually
he
not.
learned how to shoot things down, and it works fine. I mean, if you look at the Keradim hat, the final, the one that we were just
Yeah.
checking, it beats the hell out of Wing Zero. Of course,
Does.
it's a newer standard part, but it beats the crap out of it.
Not
It's
by
just tremendous.
much. Like there's a couple hundred shot attack. There's definitely like 2k shot defense, and all the
and
armor.
actually has armor.
Yeah, all the armor. But it does show how well in that case Wing Zero is held up. Otherwise, across the board, I think this thing has great stats for everything. Stats are the least important part of it, but at least they're competitive and they're not going to hold you down. I have a small gripe with the tag spread on the front half. I don't think long range and mid range are nearly as good as long range and Gundam. In the sense that,
but still, they're both 5% tags anyway. So in this case, I think they work well together. And if you look at the whole setup, if you build a whole suit with it, you can say that you're like a smidge away from the triple tag suit.
That is where my my complaint lies, actually. In that trying to use both these tags to their fullest, I believe that trying to combine long range and Gundam is a hell of a lot easier to actually easily proc both of them than trying to get both long range and mid range on this without going for a full set. I just think the combination of long mid is not quite as easy to fully take advantage of both halves of as long Gundam. And since you're only using one leg gear, and it's going to be long anyway, I'm kind of giving long Gundam the edge there.
Probably right.
Great shooting power boost.
I'm going to play around with
the play with the
calculator and laugh a bit. Let's just see, what do we have with mid and long? Let's see if we have any. Well, we have the Vertigo things and Lasse, which came out with the O Gundam.
Fucking Lasse. The ugly Lasse no one
likes.
And the
base Karadim. And base Karadim also has both mid and long.
Yeah. Lasse actually has mid and long?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no shit.
That was a nice surprise when I went to check it.
Right, and otherwise there's not a whole lot that carries both those tags together. Blast Impulse back, but no one's really going to use that for anything.
Yeah, for stats, no.
Or trait.
Maybe,
Oh, no, it's an
and
EX
maybe
even.
pilot-wise, or Orga. Orga works too.
Orga,
Because
but
Orga is a long shooter.
his stats are kind of depressing, and his trait doesn't do a whole lot. He is definitely tag material, full stop.
Material, yeah.
But the only one of these three that actually feels like it does much is Lasse.
Yeah.
Oh look, Blast Impulse has it like through its whole body. Good for it. Blast Impulse Torso is okay. I could live with that having those tags.
It is. It is. So yeah, we could probably play around with the tags and it work.
All right, I have a way to end your entire argument. Do you know what rocks Long and Gundam together? Dynamis and Heavy Arms Endless Waltz. And Crossbound Mal.
Well,
but like exactly. As far as standard goes, okay. Dynamis alone kind of creeps that over.
It does, especially now with the alteration.
F92, that's not bad. I mean, Mao has it on most of its stuff. There's only one pilot with that tag combo. I'm so sad about that. It's Sai. You could definitely do better than him for either one. But I am embarrassed to say that once upon a time I have slapped him in the sub slot of my Kira because I just needed those tags together.
Well, I've done worse in the build circuit, trying to fit mid and Xeon and a few and for space.
Back when battle circuit actually mattered. Heavy sigh, heavy audible sigh. I'm not crazy about the changes to it. That's a whole nother conversation. I just think that being able to reuse our welfare sets, our event sets, has completely neutered the challenge of it. And even without the clock freeze glitch, people could probably very easily, I mean, I can very easily kick out 30 minutes with 2 full welfare sets and nothing else. And I wasn't spamming mags.
Yeah, I did the same. I just for the challenge, I used like the O Gundam, and well, the current welfare for the second part.
I used Carl and Za, and it was, unfortunately, a cakewalk. I mean, I had a few 1 minute, 2 minutes on Za, or on off tag stuff or melee stuff, where I just had to keep backing up and using the X's, but excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, if someone just follows the restrictions, using welfares is more than enough to clear it right now.
Not even. I mean, the base restriction, yes. In this case, it was skill boost, which Za has 3 or 4 amazing ones we'll go over.
Solid suit all around.
Speaking of good EXs, I'm not even mad they copy-pasted this one on the arms. Like, that is legit just 1-for-1, the leg one from base Sheridan. But it's a good one. And we have access to it in a different form now.
It shoots, it has defensive traits, and it works perfectly fine for most stuff.
It is still the same tragic funnel cooldown that most funnels have. The 99-66 that just absolutely neuters it being spammed out. Well, but it works.
But if you consider, did we test if this one was affected by the duration?
Yes, these do stay out by funnel duration traits.
So you can probably double the duration for defensive play if you feel like it.
I will say, not this specific version, but the leg version has been, and I don't see any big differences. Besides how much better these look. Honestly, I love the shield bits being configured on the arm in that one big plate. I adore that look. Like having the big arm shield made out of shield bits.
Gives it a full, it's like a callback to Dynamis itself.
Yeah. You could probably get 100% uptime on this if you pack in some good uptime boost traits, you know, Alter Providence or Alter New Version Ka, and pack the legs ones at the same time, and just alternate between leg and arm. You could probably have this up 100% of the time. You can be the shot lord. You can be immune to all shots except for splash.
Exactly, and then you just need one good X skill to shoot things down.
Yeah.
And the suit will probably carry itself pretty fine.
You feel safe. Actually, speaking of silly stats, you know how we're always talking about B-packs being just... Actually, that's a bad example. I forgot it's integrated.
Oh God, B-packs.
I forgot it's integrated. I was gonna say, look at these arm stats and how nice they are on Sheridan. It's pushing a new standard for shooter arms like B-packs was. But then I remember that this jerk is integrated, and that's an unfair comparison. Because we're looking at like 11,000 shot defense.
Yeah, no. B-packs is not fair to compare to Gundam arms.
Not in that slot.
But
the other one, sure. But
yeah. But even then, if you compare on other slots, it should be pretty fine on standard.
That is an analog right there.
Like, I don't know, if you compare it to, I don't know, Uravan, maybe?
Maybe. I'm looking at the torso right now, and that's just a 1-to-1 analog Cherubim to B-packs. Similar armor level, similar shot defense. It just moved around a little bit. Like, this is the new standard for shooters, and it's good.
And if you compare the arms to S Gundam,
and we pretend
S Gundam pretty much kills it.
Yeah, and if we pretend that S Gundam's melee defense is actually shot defense.
Yeah, exactly. Like
if we close our eyes,
just the baseline.
If we close our eyes and pretend that S Gundam can actually take a shot, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, S actually has more. You know, S actually has.
S has pretty beefy stats.
Yeah, and not unreasonable amounts of melee attack either. S is actually some kind of weird mix build, because all that melee defense could be converted pretty healthily into melee attack, and then you have just raw shot backing it up. S is weird. I don't like it.
It's weird. It's weird. You could play around with Transformer tag because it's a melee tag right now.
Yeah.
but it would still be in a very weird place. Maybe if you want to play around with a mixed build.
At this point in the game, I'm looking at 7K melee and thinking that's trash. But then I look down at my phone and see that Cherubim is 4. And I'm like, at least S is trying. Bless. Yes,
exactly. S is trying. If you compare it with the newer standards, it's, the new limited ones. Let's not just say standards are really gonna feel bad. Like, I don't know, if you go with the just skipping up a bit forward, I mean, the newest limited suit has 8.4k, so S Gundam is trying, 7k is trying for a standard suit.
Now,
I would say it's pretty okay.
This is something that I want to touch on. These leg EXs on Sheridan. Rifle bits. Sounds great on paper. Funnel cooldown, B+ power. A B+ standard shooter. Cool. We're in the realm of like Moon now. Why is it?
Yeah, and they buffed it up.
Yeah.
And
Why is it
they
that
buffed up the shot skill?
Every single bit of footage that I see about these, like you're seeing on screen, these things are missing. Look at the second wave when it comes up. Oh. Did it actually skip over that? Yeah, right there. It is shooting past a stationary target. And at first I thought, okay, it's a bad example. Maybe Twitter just used a poor one. But then in my research, I see other people's stuff. Can I minimize you, sir? Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, mirrored iPhone. Get out of the way. When I see other people's footage of the same skill. Oh, that's just a clearer version. You can see it shoot right past. I think Sema over here might have actually different skills for some reason. I found somebody with a different setup. No, same one. Though again, it's not in 240p, so you can actually see the shots go by. Where was it? Let me do
Yeah, it
Chernem.
hits. It looks like it hits the guy, but
Then on the
yeah,
second
the
one, it
second one
switches
is
to.
just they're just flying around and not hitting anything.
I'm embarrassed that I can't find it, but there was a video I found yesterday of someone using these skills in vacuum to show them off. And again, some of these shots were straight up missing a stationary target. I'm sure it's just a weird fluke. I'm sure it's not rifle bits being garbage. I hope it's not. But the fact that I've seen 2 or 3 different videos do it is just kind of goofy. Shot funnels
Mm,
aren't in a great place to begin with, but they don't need that kind of embarrassing PR.
But there is one possibility, which would be the programming based on the size. Since most funnels are really small, the shot ones, due to those being big, it might be misplacing the start of the shot.
Maybe. I feel like I might have seen similar stuff with New Zeon, though that firing
Yeah,
in a burst
exactly.
per kind of makes up for it because more of the projectiles are going to the same spot.
Exactly.
This back. I just gotta talk about this back real quick. This might actually be a 5-state contender from our rating system because man, that stat line is satisfying to look at.
It is. It's just well-rounded, clean, 2 good tags, and a shot rate. I mean, if we look at it and we can just go, what else do you need?
Nothing.
Well,
I can work these
unless you're
tags all day.
a meta guy.
Yeah. Technically, attribute conditions for boosts are a little more stringent than something like a weapon or a tag, but whatever.
Exactly.
If you're rocking speed, this is the perfect part. I've been meaning to mention these. Are they trying to push crit for some reason?
To be honest, I think they might be. We've seen a lot of crit stuff recently, quite a bit.
Like,
maybe we are going to get some, I don't know, maybe in the future 3.1, 3.2, we might get some rework on critical, because we've been getting a lot of critical traits.
I can't see them going into the code and changing crit too heavily, unfortunately, even though it needs it badly. But what if we might get some kind of trait or condition that triggers on crit?
I was thinking more of something else, you know, like if they remove the fixed crit from max skills, or make the something that increases crit damage on normal attacks, those would be pretty devastating changes.
The B option there sounds good, boosting crit value. The A option, are you proposing they nerf EX skills to give EX skills a possible
you're right.
buff?
You're right.
Like, you're taking away their crit damage, you give them a chance to get it back.
Exactly. No, people would riot.
I'd be okay with that if that was the way from the start, but also, what horrible melee weapons.
Yes.
Neat.
they have what? Critical, which is not a popular trait.
They have a free crit boost trait because 5k shot attack is nothing. But you can do better on other options if you want those tags for a shot support.
It's like
even that raw melee attack is still not great.
You can get the Axiosword, I don't know, the T-type Axiosword, and just start with better tags, better attack value, even without alteration.
Even as like a support weapon for a shooter, you can do a hell of a lot better. Oh, you want long range? Chevalier Saber.
Yeah, exactly. It has shock defense to convert. I mean, it would be way better.
It has an amazing boost trait as well as a job trait on base is even great. Just even as a melee weapon, this 8700 isn't doing a whole lot. You can, if you want something to hit someone with, you can do better. Go grab Mobile.
Exactly. Those would be better. The old Jarburst trait, which starts at 9k. 9k at it, and it's old, so it starts at 9k and it's old. So if you grab a newer weapon, you'd be swimming in stats.
I'll even use the super special sponsored calculator here real quick, just to find our GSTP with marks. 9910.
Yeah.
It is brushing up against
Exactly.
the balls at 10K.
You're sorting by shot attack.
Oh, am
But
I?
yes, 9910 at max. So at level 90, it will still be better than
a max
the
Sheridan Maxes. They look cool, but
exactly.
It's a shame. The only thing I have to talk about is how amazing this rifle is. Great stats. A reward for using like the best shooter tag in the game. Shut up, Commander Marks. I know it's better. I don't want to accept it though. And good tags to work with. This is just a solid 4.5 It's a good gun. It's as good a gun as its old version was, except now it doesn't have a stinky, Wait a second. Is the suit name
gun.
in the part name? It has to be, right?
What do you mean?
This counts as a different weapon than Sheridan's original GM Sniper 2, right?
It does. It's not the same.
I had a brief flash of holy shit, what just happened?
If it was the same, it would be really good because it even had it would transfer 30-35%, which would be tremendous.
Yeah, like even the old version is still
fix the armor.
Incredibly good gun.
The armor would give it a proper beam res.
No, it's probably that part right there, the GNHWR, that's gonna make it different. We tried. It works sometimes.
But one thing though is that you can grab 2 of these rifles and sub one to the other, and it will work fine.
Smash them together.
Yeah, you don't even need to level the trait. Just put 2 of them, one as a sub, and it will work perfectly.
I have a fun trick about that later, actually, that I'd like to touch on when we get back to the alteration side. But now we have the surprise of the week when they just suddenly drop a new Super Sokai Festival on us midweek. I am so sorry, I just realized I haven't pulled my free dailies, and I'm not going to be able to continue this stream until I do. Here's some bonus pull content for you all.
Let's hope you get something fun.
Yeah, no. I was hoping for a head.
Will it be a salad?
I still have
be a salad?
I still have a handful of fashion Vulcans I need to collect.
Have your greens. Have your greens, my friend.
Ooh, I'm actually more excited about blues than I am purples on pilots.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's harder to get a blue pilot than it is to get a purple one, so...
Hey, that's not bad at all. Ride is another all-power like Louise.
Profit.
I will take more of him.
Oh, yeah. It's slightly worse, and it's actually a defender.
Just,
so it fits perfectly with the trait.
Real quick.
It's a good start.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad getting it. That is an investment. I have a couple 3-star pilot tickets that haven't turned in yet that I've been very on the fence about. I need to do so soon.
Yeah, I have 3 of those, which I haven't used yet. Still need to look at it properly.
Now for this big dingus. First, it took me entirely too long to realize his name is the opposite of Death Scythe Hell. I will own that. I will admit that.
Yes.
But
the name being the exact opposite is too funny.
I am excited for Lance support. It has always been, you know, not counting module, because who does? What a loser, God. Lance has always been one of the least supported weapon types, which is a shame because its default animations have some
like one part.
Good. What we got? Kimaris?
We have like one part that supports. Kimar is back, I think.
Yeah. A reason to use Lance is great. I'm not going to touch too much about the stats here because we're going to go look at the alterations and go ooh and ah at them. But that's solid. Universal EX boost. Use it for anything. A lot of people use Lances in their skins for various EXs or even just a good, solid interrupting animation. You ran a lance on your Gallantmon skin for ages.
I did for ages, and it worked fine. People getting interrupted mid cutscene was always funny. Well, mid start animation, not the cutscene itself.
Yeah, this guy definitely wants
But
to
yes,
be melee with a slight spin on shot. I'm seeing high armor. I'm seeing reasonable melee attack and some absurd melee defense. High mode close
pretty
combat's
tanky.
good. High mode close combat's always good.
Exactly. I'm swimming in close combat after the burning and the blazing.
Oh,
And
that is. Oh, I've not actually seen this. That is very attractive. Look at those round numbers that match. That makes the chemicals in my brain fire.
yes, it's so good. The that beam.
That beam, I know it's just going to be looking at a regular old Droby, just like any of the other Megasonics. Look at this wonderful
It looks
donated.
good. It's a blue beam of doom. It's always cool.
Megasonic is an underrated weapon type anyway. It always sounded like the coolest thing when Versago was using it, and I'm happy someone else is throwing some in there. Yeah, big quick blue beam. No big setup or anything. You just launch it out and it just blasts through people. Gets the limit burst boost.
And if you line up 2 or 3 enemies, you can take them down really fast. So it's a useful skill if you're on the shot side with a bit of cooldown.
It still has the horrible Droby cooldown profile, but what are you gonna do about that?
We have like what 2 or 3 that have a usable,
a decent one.
H2
double bullet. H2 double bullet is the top
and
of
Rampage.
That. Just Rampage 2. We're not gonna compare things to Rampage. You're just being mean.
Yeah, Rampage is unfair.
Thank you, Olar, for the EX showcase. This is gonna be useful. No, I haven't actually seen these stats yet, and if the altar boosts them in any significant way, ooh, that's a top-end torso.
It is. It's gonna be. It's very clean. Let's hope when we get the alteration, it keeps the round values.
That is. Oh god, if they. Oh no, I won't be able to sleep if they make one of those off by a point or two. Please don't round them.
That would be so silly. Look, a tank trade.
Yeah, melee power on the arms. That's pretty great. I mean, that's a good stat line. The melee attack is lower than you'd expect for raw melee, so that's telling me that it is trying to be some kind of outfighter split hybrid. Hybo Gundam is something that we saw over on things like Transient and Justice Knight that I actually learned to love for how much that covers.
It's really solid. And well, while Gundam type is not the best melee tag, but having high mobility opens it up to a lot of subs, especially on the 1/100 side.
Yeah, I think Gundam type did work a little better in conjunction with something like close combat, so you can get a neat double armor boost. But and then we have
it depends on what you're trying to do.
Then we have this. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about yet another 40/40. This time, maybe the easiest 40/40 we've ever had.
That's arguable.
As long as you're going to be running Infighter, which is a 1-part investment, you got a 40 melee boost, a 25 base.
Yes, it's crazy good.
You're not jumping through any hoops for it. Actually, what did we have going on before I opened my big fat mouth on Helios?
But let me be straight up with you here. We had one that was the same restriction before. Infighter.
Was that
the GNL had. So yeah,
you would
remember
that.
High firepower. Of course I would.
Was that legs as well? No,
Uh,
that was
no.
head? Yeah,
Yes,
head
it was
in Fighter 40.
the head. GNL from the head. Exactly.
What was its secondary? High firepower?
Yes.
So it was
No,
a
no.
chop.
GN Ultron secondary is the universal one. Take more damage, do more damage.
Oh, it was 20% shot though.
Yes, it's a lot. You won't be
That adds up
tanking
a
anything with that.
lot. Does that actually negate your reduction?
It does.
Oh god.
It's like addictive. So if you have 100% reduction, you throw in a minus 20%, you go into 80. So
That's
it's not perfect
great.
for that. It isn't. But it's still funny. It's still a solid thing to throw a damage skill on it.
Though it is a very, very real downside. Understandable.
Yeah.
Then you got this guy. We have a lot to talk about exclusion, I'm sure.
Oh, are you going to show everyone our good old row? Does it survive rows?
Let me head to influencers where my videos live. Which apparently hasn't picked up my videos yet. Thanks, influencers. Yeah, we can play that game. Head over to my channel, do a little bit of self-shill. And play this edition of Can It Defeat Rose Screamer? No, this EX skill still does not defeat Rose Screamer. So far, none of these EXs that have full iframes on things can come close to getting through a non-damage trigger stun. So stuff like Trial System still works, stuff like Pressure still works.
But the good old the arms from the
Anchor arms
won't.
Yeah, no, those will still go right through with full iframes. So to set up the context, this is an EX that has full iframes as far as we can tell, up and down it. We have tried Axis, we have tried Rolling Buster, we have tried Homing Missiles. We have tried everything we can think of to try to hit this thing mid-animation, and it will not get hit. You do have full iframes. However, you have a needlessly complicated EX skill animation of just flailing around like a weirdo. As you're gonna see here, stab, 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 shoot,
great.
dash.
It's great when you're surrounded.
Yeah.
It's great when you're surrounded, but if you're not surrounded,
like any combo skill that I'll dump on,
you miss a lot of hits.
You're just sitting there like, yeah, you're just sitting there like a dummy attacking in place. It doesn't move very far. That shot portion right here does scale off your shot, so you're even losing some damage unless you invest on both sides. It does not flinch to what I can see. It's just regular old shots, like it doesn't break through super armor.
So yeah, no, it's a good combo to use if you're surrounded, but it will not be, it's not breaking any new territory or changing the world with it. It does not even have a buff, which would make it tremendously more viable.
As a 12-second, I'd expect a team buff at least. A 12-second C. All the other 12-second Cs that we love, stuff like Legend Back or Musha Victory Back.
Age Arms.
Yeah, all have some kind of team buff. Now, is that animation really worth C power and 120-second turnaround? I'm not feeling it.
I would say not. I'm not feeling it either. It looks really good, so I cannot complain about how it looks.
It's the only way those shields are closing.
And it's good if you're surrounded, but I think that's the only situation where it's viable. I would not use this in arena, and I would probably not use this in build circuit. Well, maybe, but
I would even be hesitant to use this just showing off or in friend battles because of one really, really funny condition. Any one of these stabs at the beginning or even at the end, it will bounce off a block. You can block it and cancel the entire animation. You can waste
Oh
120
god.
seconds by pushing your block button.
Don't hit the defender, guys.
Or
Don't hit the
triggering
defender.
it during a passive shield, like a defender dash, or a long shooter retreat, or a side hop.
Yeah. In-fighter side hop with gear would block this.
Same problems that the Tonfa Rush had previously, or Rush Tonfa. That you're just sitting in place swinging around like a weirdo. You don't really have the reach to affect things except for that shot portion that you have to invest in to actually be good. And any blocking at any point shuts down the whole animation. What makes this worse than Rush Tonfa in that case is that you're not catching them at close range with the combo. You are starting, you are posing, you are dashing at them, and that gives them ample opportunity to just put up a shield.
Yeah, it's not a stun. It doesn't stun lock or chain as fast as well.
No.
So, not amazing per se.
Not at all. I do think this is an amazing lance. This brings the whole thing together.
Oh, yes. This is definitely usable in almost every single
usable. Its stat line unaltered is insane.
It has shot attack, it has defense, it has a usable armor.
You have amazing raw melee.
Melee tag. Yeah, and you have a melee tag, a shot tag. So this just fits.
I would not
be to say it's bad.
Remiss to say this is the best lance in the game, which is funny because Damien is currently trying to talk to me about giving the full armor unicorn lance a 1-say for being so bad.
And this one is a good one.
This one's amazing. This one gets full marks out of the gate. Except for that EX, so welcome to 4-town. It's a yeet.
Wait,
it's
you
effective.
Don't like
well, it's a D-power yeet.
How much, yeah, oh, it has the regular 6 one.
Yeah.
I was going to hope that could save it.
What, like a 3-second? No, it's a 38 profile.
Yeah, a 3 second would save it, in my opinion. Because it would be fast enough to interrupt.
Yeah.
Or to knock down a guy.
It would be a utility tool like shield throw at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you can walk down to your local hardware store and pick up a Gushin rebaked tumor and do better than this. Altered's a different story that we'll check in a second, but as it is, that's not great. But this is so good, right here, all those stats. My favorite part of this entire thing.
Incredible.
Now, I haven't actually looked at Jagd Arche that much.
Well, I did. I looked at it a bit, and well, Jagd Arche is in a weird place. With the X skills some X skills being mixed, the first trait of the head being just.
This is a tragedy. This is like an event tier. Not even. No, event tier goes to 10. This is twice as good an event tier. Let's spin it that way.
This is like welfare tier. I mean,
yeah. It's not. It's not a bad trait.
The stats are good.
Recovery is not a bad thing. But when the part itself has 5,000 armor, what the hell is 20 a second gonna do?
You would need, let's just mat it out. You would need like 200 seconds.
To regen like just what the head gives you.
Exactly. It's not a useful trait. The tags are amazing. The shot attack is solid. And it has a good beefy armor value.
How do I actually delete things off this? Oh god, can I? Oh, can I not actually remove parts? Oh, this ain't great. I just wanted to see what the...
I think you would have to refresh it. You need to refresh it, I think.
Oh, no, that doesn't even work. Bandai Namco, you're great. Thank you for the amazing game. What the hell is this?
You need to delete it in the
oh, there we go. I can select from the menu. I just want to see what Livelance's stat line is at 99.6 compared to this. And I know it's not in the ZEP side calculator yet. Did I not spell that correctly? Should I look for heaven? Should I spell heaven correctly? I probably should. What if I just do live? Is Archie even in here? Are these new things just not here? They have to be.
Let's
oh
then
God.
let's try with.
Okay. No, they're not in this yet.
Okay, but let's try something just to.
Right.
Oh, regular arches.
Yeah, but not jagged.
You are right, my friend.
I don't think
also,
these banner suits
funny enough, did you notice the traits on Arch had?
Oh God, hold on. I'm gonna use the calculator I enjoy for this. I'm so sorry,
Okay,
Bandai Namco.
Just look at the Arch.
It's gonna be recovery,
just
isn't it? Yep. It's flavorful.
I just want you to be aware that
it gets a flavor win.
Or somehow of a nod. It's a nod to the students.
I'll do it manually after we've wasted so much time. So, 2600 melee, 4700 melee defense. I just wanted to hit that level real quick with 38 armor. And if I pop us back here, is that just a better stat line?
No, I don't think so. It has the Jagd Arche has a bit more melee defense and more shot and wait, you're right. I would say Arch is a better one.
I'm gonna get out of here, all of you. I just want a whiteboard to use. Thank you, Ziteboard, for being a convenient source of online whiteboard needs for classes and presentations and streams. And hey, sponsor me. Yeah, okay. So Jagd Arche is looking at 49 for armor, 26 for melee, 84 for shot, 39 for shot defense. We're not gonna talk about 298. What the fuck is that? We're not gonna talk about resist. It never matters. But Livelance has better melee defense by a good amount, and slightly better melee attack. Livelance, you get off easy. I suppose you are not a worse stat line. At first glance, I thought you might have been.
No, Livelance is very close in mostly everything.
Yeah.
But they moved a bit of shot and armor to the melee defense.
So Archie has this
close enough.
Archie has this classic hi-fi Ace exclusive thing going on here. That's not a competitive shot attack for the age we're in for Super Sokai. So it feels like he is trying to do more of a shot with a melee spin. We're going to see how it really pans out in the rest of it. Not the worst tank trait. Those stats are certainly up there, though. That's a lot of armor. Look at that armor. Hey, look at that armor. That's going to be a lot of armor. Is that like...
Yeah, it's beefy. It's beefy. It's not as beefy as our good old Tri-Burning.
I'm already typing into like the field as we speak.
Tri-Burning has like 8k.
Yeah, Tri-Burning 7,500 base.
It's unfair.
Whew. That's still pretty high, though.
Yeah.
Tri-Burning's beating it up on the playground.
Tri-Burning is absolutely min-maxed. And if you look at Jagd Arche, you get a good shot attack, a good shot defense, and close enough melee defense and armor. So
it's doing its job as a split.
Tri-Burning. Yeah.
Unless you're trying to punch somebody.
Exactly.
Same thing happened here. It's got a good enough melee trait. It's got decent enough melee attack with a lot of defense to back it up. The shot defense is a lot lower than I want it to be for what it's trying to do. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, the shot defense. They probably didn't give it a lot of shot defense due to the usual. It's arms. Arms
Yeah.
are for melee then, and well, and even if you consider this for a pure melee suit, you have one melee tag, so you can get a good sub for that without issues. So it's still usable, pretty usable.
GN Fangs, I'm just going to assume, are just as ridiculous as Archie Alter GN Fangs.
If they are still a mixed X skill, but crazy damage.
Definitely more testing needed, but if they go anywhere near as good as previous, it's going to be a real thing. Oh, we don't actually have the Fang animation in this video. Unfortunate. Let me do a quick look out in the world, out in the wonderful Gundam Breaker mobile community, to see if someone can provide this for me.
Who knows?
So I just want to make sure it still has that shot split in there. Yeah, 13 hours ago. Thank you, friend. Thank you, USAF commercials. Well, it's a little busy. I can't really tell. Oh, I'm seeing shots on the ground. Yeah, they totally still shoot.
Yeah. So it's mixed.
C minus max. So it's what, D base? Right, so it's the same melee funnels we've had forever. If they get altered to the same kind of levels, regular Archie, I'm okay with that, especially since these legs look 1,000 times better. I am so sorry, I hate how Archie legs look. Give me these big old pantaloons
that huge
any
skirt.
day.
That huge skirt is so weird.
I like it though, more than the weird alien legs. I think you can make this work aesthetically, because you're hiding the curves of the throne style legs.
Alien legs. Yeah. It's, well, yeah, I'd say so. And the legs itself, with that amount of melee defense and melee attack and the two melee tags, I say this is like 100% usable.
Yeah.
The legs.
Visually, yeah, I love it.
The stepwise too.
Now, did I hear right that this dude is a split scaling cutscene?
From my understanding, yes. I did not try it yet.
That is not the worst.
It starts with a Garobi, a huge, large beam of doom, and then combos you out. It fits the buffs that it has, so it's probably usable on both sides, but I would say it has so much melee combo that, well, it's a hard X skill to evaluate, per se.
Oh, right, it has a saber combo too. Yeah. So you start off with a big confusing Jirobi because it's like all Transami. Coming off that really sick looking Ein cannon though. When are we getting Ein?
I don't know. I kind of want it.
I really want that big bat cannon. Well, there is a noticeable difference in damage between the shot and melee here. I would still like someone to throw it at Nishi just to confirm. But if that's true, this is a very, very strong team play EX. Just because the entire squad gets flinch resist. This is something that I loved about EXS legs. And it's fantastic to see here.
It's clean and well, and the X skill buffs you on cast, so you get the anti-flinch for the rest of the team. So even if you have some of those easy to interrupt X skills that stop with just one shot, anti-flinch solves that.
For like 10 seconds is up, but that's still plenty of time.
Yeah, you can unleash 1 or 2 X skills with that.
If this still had ace high firepower, I'd praise it a lot more. but as it is, it's a good set of duels. A hell of a lot better than Sheridan. Look, Sheridan, shout attack. That's how you support a shooter.
This exactly. That's how you do it. 4K armor is still solid too.
With being good melee weapons at 10k and 4k armor.
Also, are these our first buster-sized dual swords?
Yeah, probably. Oh, no. Didn't Turn Red have some? Or is that just EX?
I don't... Yeah, that's just the EX skill, I think.
Well...
Oh, and...
Red Dragon had big-ass swords and a coupled version, but are they big per your definition?
But it was just one. It didn't have duals.
Well, it had a twin.
Red Dragon was a twin, not a dual weapon. But yes, it's funny just to reference the size of it.
I'm just
okay. So tags are good.
Turn Red had tactical. It was a blade, right? So Turn Red only had doubles in the cutscene.
Yeah, exactly.
Stats are good. Stats are more than acceptable. It's a nice little boost. I would have liked more if this had Ace Hi-Fi. But what are you gonna do? I'm pretty sure it's just a basic old saber combo by the looks of this.
It is. From the animation, it is. But it has 3-second cooldown and has a high power, high pierce.
Was that actually the EX?
Melt.
That just looks like. That just looks like the basic combo string, though.
Yes. I think we've seen that at least since Justice Legs.
So the EX is just the basic combo string.
It is. And I think this one also has some super armor. No iframes.
Okay. That's interesting. That didn't really get a unique animation.
Yeah.
It looks like you're just using
those
duels.
Tremendously huge swords.
Oh, and the elephant in the room. Look at them. They're big. They're double. They look amazing. Tell me, do you actually hold them by those handles? Because I'm in love if you do.
They do.
That's amazing. So they're just like under your armpits?
Yes.
So
they are exactly the same as the regular Arch one, which I used for quite a while because Arch 1 had close combat. So it would fit pre-skin as probably one of the best melee guns.
I want these. I want to roll on this. I shouldn't roll on this, but I want to roll on this for these.
You should not. The trait is amazing. The tags are amazing.
Oh yeah. Thanks,
this is like you
shouldn't roll on this. Look how cool it is.
Yes, this is almost as easy to use as our good old Gebra Tetraback.
Ace
and if
is
you have like
a no-brainer.
I don't know, like, yeah, if you have Strike Freedom guns, they work as a sub for this perfectly fine.
Or even bow.
But otherwise, you would have trouble finding a good sub for this, unless you use the same.
Well, you can throw Extreme Eclipse in there for the time being. I'm pretty sure that's Hi-Fi.
Yes. It's Hi-Fi, but is it Ace?
It's Hi-Fi computers.
So
you're getting 10% at least. I guess that's not the worst. I can do weapon type. I can't do weapon type. I guess
can do weapon type. I'm checking it on my side.
Alvaron
Let's go. Queen Rifle
is Ace or high firepower still. I thought that was Ace.
Yeah. No, even Strike Freedom. Even Strike Freedom guns don't work because they're Gundam type. Yeah, they're Ace Gundam type. So this is like the only dual guns with Ace Hi-Fi in the game.
My vote then goes for Crossbow and Mao, so you can get the long range pip in there. And a little bitty bonus melee attack.
That works. That definitely works. I would say the gun from Destiny R also works with high firepower and Gundam type, which is common tag in case you want to round up the build. But yeah, you can get some subs for this. No perfect sub. No perfect sub except itself, though. That's the only flaw.
Excuse me while I stroke these briefly. because they just look so good.
It's the biggest. I think they're the bigger dual guns we have.
You can see my HC up here and how this is currently a problem for me. It's like, I mean, 16%. I've seen worse.
It's don't do it. Don't roll for it. You're gonna regret it. The rates are not amazing at all, and even the bonus is not. Unless you are swimming in HC, these are this
I've already done a full round of P Unicorn anyway. I fell for the bait. I'm not mad about the results, but that just drained 4,500 off me, and actually no, it drained 6K off me. I did all 5. Oof. Zaw time. Let's just cover up this real quick before I put the page out later today. It's good. It has amazing armor. It has comparable shot for an event suit. All the EXs are amazing and do different things. If I had to put them in a quick order: legs, arms, back, torso, in that order. Of sustainability, the speed it deploys alt stuff, whether or not it has armor, how much damage it's actually doing in a short amount of time, and whether or not it can spread. Unfortunately, Torso gets the short end of that stick, seeing as it's just more or less a reskin Full Armor Thunderbolt, or Phaz. That it's a spread of 6 or 7 in a straight line, doesn't split, doesn't do anything fancy, does not have armor. I have cast it multiple times to be shot by a stray hit and have it canceled before even one comes out.
Yes, that was a common thing on Build Circuit.
But
that it was.
My suggestions for you for the week to max out if you have a limited budget are going to be the legs, hands down. Best ones on here. It has armor. It's fairly quick. It spreads. It vomits out missiles. Amazing. And the machine gun. Because this is a standard tier trait packed in on an event suit. We have not seen a 1730 before. It's always been the 825s. And this is not the worst condition to try to meet.
Exactly. If you can trigger it, it's really simple to trigger on the suit. And if you get if you keep another one of these, you can sub it on itself to have a proper armor value if you didn't get a Katsuki for any sort of situation.
I plan to be using the savings from this being 2 growth and this being 2 growth and this being 2 growth. The amazing growth rates on these pieces, and this being 1 goddamn growth. I plan to use the parts I saved to max these out to recycle into maybe getting a second one of these machine guns. Because double stacking them will put me near 6k armor, will put me near 10 or 11k shot attack, and will give me a wonderful universal EX trait to work with.
It's simple, it's clean, and there is not much to complain about.
Did I mention it's 1 growth? Meaning you only need 8 parts to max it out?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
The other content we got for the week, besides the 2 lame pilots that we don't have to go over, I guess as long as you're here, sure, whatever. Mackie is good.
Yeah, the pilots are not amazing.
There is no version of Mackie who is not good. He has great stats. He has a great trait. All power boosts are physical. He's a strong infighter with strong stats.
We cannot complain. No. We cannot complain about boosts. Free boosts, easy to trigger.
Alube is weird. He's rewarding you for having not advantage with a not trait. Crit rate is garbage. Fun.
You can this opens up a new trait situation, you know?
Where you can still get some kind of benefit for being off attribute.
Exactly. And it also lets you build for a round attribute, for no attribute.
Oh, actually, that's an excellent point,
If you build for no attribute and you get more traits like that.
You were bringing up something I did not consider. That this is actually a viable setup for neutral. You will always be
Exactly.
neutral if you don't pack an attribute.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah, more of this please. Let's go.
So you'll never be weak to anything if you're neutral. So, and if you can get traits that stack up from that, it's a free trait.
Oh,
What
I want
else
to try to
complain
mess
about?
with that now. I mean, once we have the resources to do so, melee crit is not doing anything for anybody.
Exactly.
But something we didn't get to talk about last week because we both had some life things that didn't let us participate. How do you feel about sumo said and done? Since this is a permanent altar and we have all the time in the world to talk about it.
Well, sumo is amazing. I love the arms and I love the legs. The gun becomes semi-viable on itself, and the head is a free 49% boost.
I do have something fun to say about the gun. I complain about what the hell are these stats. But that's about it. I did a double take looking at the fresh feed of this last week because I have no idea what this is. This is some old school jank from the start of the game. Yeah, combat stance, amazing, free 50% buff. Can't beat it. Head slot, something you don't usually get. Not since Australia.
And this and the tech combination is not exactly common if you want to use it as a filler for anything.
Every part has value. Melee has a strong 30% boost with a little bonus inconsequential survive trait. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Arms have been tested out to see that the Jirobi part of its startup is actually quite strong, looking at near like an IWSP level, except it's running with like 3 times the ICD, so that's funny. Even at max, I can't help but feel like
ICD is percentage based, right? So since ICD is percentage based, this should not be an issue. It's a 24%, but it's a 24% starter for the arena. Well, maybe it's more than one part if you need to use this.
I'm concerned of it being 2 traits.
But I'll be honest. Even a maxed 20% part should be enough to make this work.
Yeah. Just if you're trying to run the event 12% levels.
Yeah, no, but if you run a 20% one, you would be like, I don't know, with 3 seconds left, should be usable.
I've actually been wondering,
but should be usable.
I have not been trying it. You know how we're starting a second early, or at least it feels like it in Arena now? Has that affected the ratio of 12 second ICD being appropriate for max event parts?
That should affect it, yes. The 3 second ICD, I'm still running it, and it still works fine.
I mean, in the sense that the old standby was you need 12% to run a 6 second maxed out event tool, like Mac Knife Arms.
I think it should still run it perfectly. It perfectly, because I've been running 0 ICD with three
and it's been working?
Second X skills.
Alright.
And it's working fine.
I've been concerned about us losing that second, quote unquote.
The flying Gaia shield still solves all my issues.
There is a good way around this guy too. I've been thinking of some ways to utilize this well. What if you're rocking Kyrios Alter Arms for that job boost on buff condition? A Reborn, I almost called it Rebong because that's what we've been calling it for like a year. A Reborn's rifle effect that gives you the cooldown on buff, and then a strong shot buff to start off with. You're triggering the buff, you're getting your cooldown filled for the skill, and you're triggering your limit burst as you hit it. So you're getting a buff amount and a Jirobi that starts at an IWSP level, now doubled by your limit burst. You're costing yourself like a second for getting that buff off, a second or two, but you're still going to be able to fire it before he even reaches you. And you're getting a huge buff off that. And if he doesn't, the melee portion kicks in after, and that's funny. I want to play around with that setup. It's just so hard to move away from Rampage being so strong. Legs are fun. I'm in love with them. They're a movement tool, they're a splash tool, they're a strong damage tool, they're just goofy and fun. Max cooldown actually is pretty usable. It's got that weird old style where it has some odd numbers it suffers from. But sitting up at max at 435, that's perfectly spammable.
It
The
is.
initial
It works. You're going to be able to use it 2-3 times per mission on a regular max value.
If there's no one in front of you when you cast
the low
this,
ICD.
Yep. Low ICD means you don't have to invest.
You can tackle things down. Yeah.
The initial movement you get off this when you cast it, you know the starting point of Noble Path, of the Green Frame multi-mission. You know that concourse you start on.
Exactly.
You can get from one end of the edge to it, to the other, in one cast of this. And then at the end of that movement, if you have not contacted anyone, it launches off the flight unit for an equally distant duration.
Now there's the question. If you stack up projectile speed traits, does it increase your movement?
It does not increase your movement speed. I did not find a difference when I tested that. I'm sad, but I could not find any difference. It did feel like the flight unit moved faster, but not yourself. So if you stand at the back of that starting concourse, you can hit anyone in a straight line with that thing. If you stand at the absolute back of the stage and hit your limit burst to extend your range of range attacks, you can hit the first dude at spawn. There's a lot of fun little things with this. If you contact someone before it's released, it just explodes anyway and you get a point blank AoE. Cool. If you get caught by someone before the end of your boost, not necessarily getting damaged, but let's say they move within a range that they can melee you, it will release the flight unit early and send it forward at your target. I have set up situations in my test room where I have 2 mid-shooters on either side of me with a suit-size gap between them, and a long shooter past that gap. I cast it, I get close to the mid-shooters, they go to swing at me, and the flight unit launches out from my position and still hits the guy in back. It'll still launch out if you get caught. It's really cool and unique and fun and goofy.
It lets you have a coverage for a lot of situations. That's not something we can say of all X skills.
No. It's got utility. And it gets you across the map fast if you need to be. The back, I think, is probably the only part you can safely skip on this entire thing.
Yes.
The back...
I don't think even the run stats have issues saving it. Yeah. This is an old standard tier. This is like the wing back when it first came out.
The back used to be, way back in yesteryear, 2 goddamn years ago, one of our only sources of back damage for a shooter. And I would run it for that, because it has that pierce boost. But we're just swimming in traits that do more than that now, so it's not even worthwhile. Storm Edge is cool.
Yeah.
It's a quick little spin, you do good damage, nothing more to say about that. It's exactly the same as, say, the Magan Axe or the Zaku 2's Axe. You're doing nice little AoE damage. At the small startup, you can get out of it. You can skip this too if you want to. I want to talk about the beam gun. No, we're done with the Axe. The Axe sucks.
We're done with the Axe. Let's go. Oh, I don't think it does, but let's go.
Not only is this a nice spread of traits, EX skill power 30% is strong. These tags are identical to P Grandpa, to Big RX-78.
So you can straight up grab a big gun and this gun, and you have a viable source of damage. It's great.
You have a silly, quote-unquote free... Actually, you know what? I have a Big Grandpa. Wait, did I actually alter that or not? Oh boy.
You probably should. If you did, I altered it. It's a good gun.
I did not. I want to do so right now because we're going to do a practical experiment.
Let's do it.
You're going to watch me spend some resources in one of my very valuable light alter tools, which I got from my wonderful team.
We all work for it. Actually, now that we're talking about it, I probably need to check if I'm in the range or not.
Oh, for the safety range?
I probably should work a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a little grinding to help after
I should
this.
probably go check mine. Oh, well, but I think I'm close enough. I have like 2 tickets and I'm like 500 points under, so even if I do it alone, it's like 5 or 6 runs.
I'm gonna tune you up.
It's okay.
I'm gonna level you to max. I'm gonna dump some throwaway marks in you. And I want to see practically what this does to a like a 90 big grandpa rifle.
Yeah, it should be a pretty solid value. It's straight up value.
Because you're getting both tags, and the full 5% from the trait, and the big bonus.
Exactly. If you throw away some blue ones on that, it's already 7k. That's a 45% transfer on that, which would end up being 745. Oh god, I'm rusty.
This is a red marked 90
like
big
3K.
grandpa. Something very easy to get.
That would transfer no issue, like 3k. No problem there.
3k.
3k.
You now have a 12k gun with a 30% EX skill boost. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful, wonderful sub.
A lot of value.
For almost nothing if you farmed out some. And this doesn't even have to be a 99 hand beam gun. You can get it to 90 with only one copy, and you're still going to have a great sub value.
Exactly, and do remember that this is like blue marks. So if you got like gold marks on that, it should probably reach 13k without much problem.
Oh, speaking of conversion, we'll get to it when we head over to the alteration for Unicorn. But we didn't mention one very, very silly thing people are doing, which is
oh god,
taking the arms, which happen to share the exact same tags, with big P attribute Grandpa RX-78, which is getting a bonus from being an integrated part, getting a bonus from the scale difference, getting a bonus from same tags, and getting a bonus from whatever trait level of those arms you have are.
Integrated, yeah.
If you throw P Grandpa in here, you're looking at a 16k melee arm.
It's totally crazy. And even with the shot value and melee defense it transfers, you get like 10k melee defense. It's like you can easily reach 20k with the.
Oh yeah, you're still giving up a trait slot, but that is some stupid transfer.
Yeah, and even considering, if we consider the arms don't have a lot of melee shields, don't have a lot of good traits, correct, you can play around a lot with that.
Everyone's using TR1 for shooters, but otherwise melee shields don't do a whole lot. Except Cosmos and that one guy who won't shut up about Cosmos.
Exactly. Cosmos shield is unfair.
Looking at the alters on this guy, haven't seen much about it yet, so might as well take a peek. I'm not a fan of part-specific traits, as you know.
9-7.
Arm ain't the great. 9-7-4-7 does its job. I mean, I'm going to expect all the stats here to go up to a reasonable level.
And Federation has been getting more support lately, so you can probably play around with a lot of good subs for this.
Narrative C-Packs, Big Gundam, they're all great. Or B-Packs, rather. Big Gundam, they're all great.
Yeah.
Looks like the shot attack got a little boost off this NTD, as well as having some super armor. That's actually a pretty good awakening.
It is. It is. It does its job perfectly.
I really don't like awakenings in general.
Shot attack.
That works. That's one of the better ones. Nothing's ever gonna save.
Yeah, 40 base is solid.
Basic cutscene S power. It's not going up to SS or anything crazy. Unless those arms get really wacky, or you're doing that sub trick, I'm not sure if I even give this a Reggie. The legs, though, as you see that check mark there, me being very on the fence about what I'm doing with it.
The legs are crazy.
You hit that.
The legs are freaking crazy.
You double dip that very, very stringent condition, which I don't love. I'm not going to be able to give this full marks on the base form, because literally any amount of damage is going to turn off your trait. That's going to force you to either
Yes,
play very defensively
but
or
let's be
actually...
honest. Let's be honest. For arena or most game modes, you're going to be in more than 90% or getting heals left and right. It
Damien
should
made
not
that same argument,
be an issue.
but if you're trying to tell me that it's really, really good in only arena, it's not going to help my estimation of its value.
No, it's not good only in arena. I'm just saying that in most other game modes, you probably don't get hit enough for it to matter. Like, for example, in multi-missions, either someone is spamming a healing cutscene or
you're just dropping rocks.
You're dropping rocks. Yeah, if you drop rocks, the damage just cleans everything up. But you don't need
if you do
this
get hit
if
by,
you're just dropping rocks.
by anything in relevant content that this boost is going to matter, you're taking more than 10%.
Yes.
I don't like it. Still, 40-40 for that is amazing, and I'm definitely going to be altering these as soon as I decide my course of action.
I would say getting it, and also look at the tags.
Ace Hi-Fi.
It's really, really, really to get a non-dupe sub for this. We have, I don't know, High New Gundam, the full armor one, the first one we got. We got V2, which has an altar.
X2.
Those tags are just everywhere.
X2 has been a viable source for Ace Hi-Fi forever.
Exactly. That even that one as a standard one fits perfectly.
I'm gonna very sadly throw my no-name legs in here, probably, as a sub. Just outclass
And
them.
it works.
You're not gonna change my mind, Bazooka and Missile Launcher. You're still bad. I mean, okay, it's good. It's a 38 that does good damage. But I really, really hate the animation.
It's a long animation. And if you get a Zook in your face,
you're knocked out of it.
Doesn't it interrupt?
If you get an SP shot Zook, you will get knocked out of your backflip, and it is funny.
Yeah, and most missions where you do get shot, well, it's easy for that to happen.
Yeah, passing that up, thanks. This still doesn't save the Javelin. It becomes acceptable for a non-alter stat line, and it goes from having a useless trait to an okay one. I can do a lot better if I want a universal boost on my melee. Which is a shame, because Lance is getting more support. Go get Live Lance! Go get Live Lance Lance.
Yeah, and even if we talk about the transfers, or as a... It has Ace Federation, a rare combination.
Okay, counterpoint.
So you cannot even transfer to this a good shot defense, or I don't know, if you try to transfer some shot attack from another weapon, you're stuck.
Actually, I'd be willing to say the only other thing I can think of with it is Gundam Hammer. Yeah, Gundam Hammer is the only other thing with that combo in that slot, and it's not even the same weapon. How many Federation Lances do we have? Yep. How many Ace Lances do we have?
Yep. Ace Lances, I think we might have one or two.
I have trouble finding any. I don't think they exist. Well, hold on. Is that a lance? No, it's a saber. I don't believe they exist, to be honest, because I've been having trouble finding them to throw into my double X lance. In fact, hold on. I own a good amount of parts.
You do?
Show me all the lances with Ace or Federation. Oh no. You ain't getting shit for subs off this, buddy.
Now you can sort it out by shot attack and laugh. Or they don't exist in your inventory.
They don't goddamn exist.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So get a duplicate so you can have two bad melee weapons, I guess?
Or just don't and run away.
Gatlings
or
don't got much to
recycle if
say.
you get three. Recycle if you get 3 of them. You might get another copy of the legs.
Hey, funny, that's how I got my first couple beam Gatlings, by recycling like 4 lances. Back when it was T attribute.
Now, the beam Gatling is a good one.
I don't have a lot to say about the
both.
single. Statline's fantastic. Yeah, you'd like this, wouldn't you? Yeah, you would.
It's awesome.
Look at that defense boost. You'd love that.
It's awesome.
I don't like this combination.
It's a complicated place to stay, but yeah, the single one would even fit my tank suit.
The argument that people give me to why part-specific traits benefit is stuff like Arena, where you only need to use one EX skill, and you can just dump on a guy with that one skill. Otherwise, in other content,
which is the meta, which is part of the meta right now.
Otherwise,
you can use like the, I don't know, Barbato's back and
IWSP, yeah. Otherwise, though, in any other content, these traits are incredibly limiting because they're only affecting one of your 3 EX skills and taking up a whole ass slot for that. So, on the reverse side, shooting reduction isn't going to do much in the arena that the other trait is thriving in.
Exactly.
Shooting reduction is going to be better off for PvE content.
You better get a this at most works as a filler gun for a melee build.
Yeah, I just don't like this trait combo otherwise. This one's pretty cool though. I mean, the job's not the end of the world, but at least it's there. It's nice. The stat line and the tags are fantastic. You can easily sub this out for something a little more impactful. It's still a power boost on middle shooter. 1 part investment for a big boost. Gatlings need more love, they'll get them someday.
And you can even get a sub with well, Gatling subs with Ace should not be a common thing either.
They are more than you think thanks to stuff like Amazing Red Warrior.
Oh. Yeah, that is a good one. I forgot about the Amazing Red Warrior. I don't think I have a single part from it.
BAM! Beam Rifle and Beam Gatling Gun. When attacking with Beam, shooting power boosted. Not half bad, buddy. Actually, what is our alter on here? Because it should be on this current rotation.
It is.
Amazing Red Warrior right there. Gatling. Apparently I own the duels. Cool. Double shooting boost with Gundam and Ace. That sounds like a wonderful sub-in.
No doubt about it.
Oh, hi. That's actually some pretty good stats itself. That's actually pretty close to unicorns.
See? It's great to work with.
I arguably like the look of this one better too, because it looks like a big Blash. It looks like a big Gundam rifle. But in Gatling form.
Yes, it's not. It's better in terms of looking like an actual gun instead of looking like a Gundam wing exaggerated Gatling.
I forgot I had these, and these are pretty damn good. I need to alter these.
You probably should.
Excuse me why I just used the 1 badge I apparently left over to deal with this business quick. Please ignore my near 600 alter tools. I don't want to talk about it. I don't alter
Let's
things.
Not. I do. A lot.
Alright.
I suffer from fear of missing out in terms of alterations. I think that considering, well, the current event, anniversary event, solved a bit of that, but it's like sometimes they have months and months and months without being able to alter something. It's really complicated. Like let's say, remember Freedom?
I remember Freedom.
When it first came out, the alteration was really great, and I did the back, and it was, well, it helped me on a lot of content, but then I didn't alter the rest of the parts because I was deciding what to do. And when it came back, it was completely outclassed by everything else
I don't
that
remember a
could be
lot
get.
of the rest of its body being useful either for alters. Like, it was like the
It, wa-
back and
it had
that's
it
it.
had some solid stats, and the legs had a healing salt and a healing
Silly
axe
Melga worrying
with a
about
slightly
stats.
lower. Yes, so it was just bad. I don't know. I got luck sacks on rolls from other stuff that just clearly killed freedom. It's like there is 0 point to actually altering that now. So, but at the same time, it makes you think. If after a few months it's not going to be worth using at all, should you be altering it in the first place?
That's usually why my should you alters rely heavily on value. The extra trait you're getting, the EX boost you're getting, or more importantly, if there's a buttload of stats being added to it. Only if there's a buttload. I have a thought for you that might
Yeah.
bring you down a little bit.
Oh God.
Alternate attribute freedom.
Oh.
It's gonna happen. The future is now.
Yes. It's gonna happen. I'm sure of it. They're probably gonna give us the alternate design as well.
Oh,
Eventually.
yeah, that might be nice. Like the blacker color scheme and the slightly different angles on it.
Yeah, the one with the statue.
Yeah, I'd
In
actually be
Shanghai,
okay
I
with
think.
that.
No?
I'd be a lot more okay than this full armor one. This is my first look at Livelance Alter. I haven't even started writing this because I have 2 weeks, so I can be as lazy as I want, and yeah.
Did you already do? Well, you already did Blazing, right?
Yeah, that's been done.
So you're okay.
This was a surprise Super Sokai, so there's nothing I can do. I mean, we barely got the other 3 guys written up, and they're at the image guy right now. Expect them soon.
But they haven't done this in a while.
No,
They
just
usually started this
drop
when we
some
had build
nonsense
projects,
mid.
right?
Yeah. Double Lance support. Go all in on Lance. I absolutely love one-part investment traits, and if you put 2 of them on the same build, amazing. And it's a double EX boost. What is this nonsense?
This hat is like free damage for everyone and for everything.
It only wants you to use a stick. That's it. This is perfect. This is amazing. I would run this with something with a nice EX on the lance so I get full value. You know, something like Blast Impulse.
Exactly.
Or even Live Lance.
Exactly. That one's also usable. And there's also the Kimari's Lance with a proper cutscene that heals.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Which
It's
is
pretty
really
fast
usable.
too. I mean,
so this
stats?
is value.
Actually, I sold my Zeit board, right? Huh. I'm just looking at the Archie stats we still have up there and seeing how this alter on Livelance compares. It's interesting enough. I'm not going to worry too much about stats, because we all know stats aren't going to last forever. But it's still nice to see how much of a boost you get.
You get a nice boost. I would say so.
Your Mega Sonic goes up to B++. Good for it. It deserves it. The cooldown
now it does damage.
Oh, they didn't change it. Yay. This pleases me. That's actually a really amazing torso that will probably hold value for a long time just from a stat level because of how much it does.
Yeah, and even if you stop using it on your main suit because it got outclassed by something else in a specific stat, you can run this on almost any suit after that. Your secondary suits will probably benefit a lot from this.
Even if we end up sooner than we like hitting the point where we have 5k offense on parts, the fact that this is 4 across the board is still going to be value.
And it has a whole legend of armor.
One whole legend.
It's
okay.
Amazing.
So you get your reduction and you get your EX boost. I am pleased that these are all turning into universal EX boosts. So the split kind of nature it's trying to go for is getting supported there.
Yeah, it's very, very clean.
Pretty damn good stats too. Can't complain.
The Yes. The offensive attack is less than the build Project Shiny. I think not by much though.
It has a good amount of shot attack in there baked in too to help it out though.
But yeah, but it beats straight up the build Project Arms, Shining Arms, which is astounding.
That's silly.
We're
It
reaching
doesn't
that
have that
stage.
mobile fighter support, but it's still silly. Hey, it's the same thing. This is pretty damn good. So it looks like our secondary condition is going to be Lance. So we're just going all in on Lance. And I'm okay for it. I'm here for it. I mean, it's a two-part investment for 50 to 80%. It doesn't shut off.
Crazy good.
It doesn't have alternate conditions. It's just stellar. And this goofy goober gets up to a reasonable power and still keeps the same horrible cooldown.
No, that Exclusion X skill is not. It's hard to save.
No, I didn't like it at C and I don't like it at A-. It doesn't fix a single flaw.
The part itself gets now a good melee defense. That's probably the only thing that gets it, that saves it.
And the aesthetics of it.
Yes.
I was hearing, unfortunately, that cloak does not close outside of this EX.
Yes. I think Olar tested out and said
used a bunch
more
of
than
different
once
ones,
that it doesn't close.
Just couldn't get it to close.
He said that it... Yeah.
That's tragic.
Well, if you like how it looks open, that's good.
Well,
but
I don't.
It is what it is.
And I'm the most
you look like a starfish.
The customer.
Oh, this is almost as good as the Galaxy Cosmos back.
I love this. I love this so much. This is so good. This is the best Lance in the game. It doesn't matter if these stats get crept. The fact that they have these stats in these fields is the good part. And our yeet goes up to B+, so it's now usable.
It's just clean and good. Good defense, good shot attack, good armor. The X skill is usable. Even the resistance, if you're running a build that converts that.
I believe
value all around.
Despite its price tag, Live Lance has single-handedly brought Lances back. Or at least given them,
I would say so,
one step into the realm of viability.
Yes, it's the first step. We already have a few tank arms and a back that increases damage for Lance, but you can probably round that all of that and it will work just fine. Now Archie. Let's look at the weird red. Fairy particle suit.
So, with my Zeit board still up here, that's a healthy boost in pretty much everything.
It is.
I didn't care about shot attack, shot defense, I didn't write it down, but I mean, 0 and... Yeah, physical resistance still a meme. Twin Rifle EX boost. I can do better on the head in so many ways. I would rather just plop like a Buster on here than try to make this work with this.
Yes, you can. You don't even have a lot of skills on Twin Rifles, which makes it hard to play with on the whole game. Like I don't know. Like for guns, there's most people use the Twin Buster Rifle, or I don't know, the Virtue Zook for mob clearing. There's so many good X skills, but not on Twin Rifles.
No. Like, I would...
So to try to justify limiting the skin for this head, never.
No. In fact, hot take here, Strike Freedom head is better than this. Even though it curtails your melee with another uncommon choice. I would rather Strike Freedom head than this.
Yeah,
it's not worth being burdened with your dead first trait to try to run these traits.
You would need to straight up kill your build for this. They would have to boost tremendously, like from I don't know. If it's 20, it would need to recover like health, I don't know, 0.1 seconds to be able to be noticeable at least.
Hey, but...
Oh, the armor gets a nice boost.
On which? The head or the...
The chest. The chest.
Oh, yeah. Torso's a biggie. It comes up just about where tri-birding is at base.
Yeah.
It comes up to non-alter tri-birding.
Which is a hefty value considering that all the other stats don't suffer for a mid.
No. High mobility is a very common tag you want to finish. Being rewarded for it's nice. And universal boost, so just use it for whatever.
And you can use melee reduction in some case. This is easy to trigger. While, well, it doesn't have a lot of support, as we talked about.
Dual blades are doing...
But I think
dual blades are in a better place than twin rifles.
Exactly. That they are. I agree with you.
And have been for a long time. Way back since Susan.
Yes, Susan and good old mobile.
Oh, you. Oh, you. Buff up effect arms. Oh, I remember Limor going absolutely nuts for these. Everything on here is fantastic for stats. I don't know what I'm expecting. But...
these arms are unfair.
They are worth running...
for melee builds, they
even
are...
Even on a shooter.
They are unfair. On a shooter?
Yes, I would ignore that first trait, just acquire that second one. Because there is no other option easy for buff up on your arms.
If we bet this out, yeah, it's... You would need a max trait to beat up what you have here.
I would give up...
A max
double trait. Yeah. I would give up my deep arms for this in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they're really, really solid.
And melee builds just get even more value. They start at 15.
Just 15.
They start at 15.
It's like that's max Jabra Tetraback.
Yeah, they start after Artemis ends.
Exactly. No, they're just clearly good.
We all know how amazing buff up is in the current state of the game, because for whatever reason, they made buff up effects additive instead of multiplicative, so 15% is the equivalent of another half a stance.
Wait, show me the max stats on the arms again.
Yeah, they're dumb.
Keep them up for a bit. I want to be shocked. Just. Oh my god, the max stats of these arms are straight up. What the hell? 10k, 38 defense.
10k, 4500 shot, man. 4500 shot.
These are good. These are really good.
Everything on here is going to be fantastic. You just have to learn to accept it.
Yeah.
Hey, A plus, B plus. So it's actually coming to the same point as, Alter Archie legs. If they function the same, it's a murder machine. It is good funnels. Granted...
And let me just say that the legs are pure value stat-wise.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
It will fit on a lot of things. It will fit on a lot of things.
That being 6 and that being 6 makes me happy.
It's like the shot is okay, the melee attack is okay, the shot defense not the most amazing, but that armor and that melee defense, they just carry value. It's pure value.
I will bring up a food for thought point regarding the EX. Similar in other event tier copies of existing EXs, you're not realistically going to have this at 10 for the cooldown. So if you want to shave 30 seconds off that,
be 90.
event version Archie actually wins out, considering it's going to have a similar damage profile.
Yes. As a skin, it's better.
Excuse me. My bad. Took that coffee down the wrong tube. Ugh.
So you're going to have to give up your good old Jagd Arche legs for the good old Archie ones if you want to use the fangs.
If you want efficiency. Otherwise, Jagged beats it for fashion, hands down.
Oh, I accept that. I accept that. It's a good place to be.
Oh, we didn't check out the back yet. So Trinity Hunt moves up to an S. Our melee boost, our melee buff gets buffed up 10%. That doesn't feel like a lot to me.
It's not. Added value is not a lot.
And stats are great. They're going to be great. They're never going to stop being great. It's got 7k armor.
Exactly.
And like what? 2 swords and a cannon? That's cool. You can really tell from this version of Archie alone that it's supposed to be like a culmination of all 3 thrones.
Yeah. It's a great suit all around. The stats are great, but well, I would say the back has a bit less value than the legs
for
in terms
altering
of stats.
Yeah.
But it's still all around solid. Now the swords.
This is a little confusing. Okay, great as swords, fantastic as swords. A lot of shot attack. It's a great support there. But no traits to back up that shot support. Instead you have a saber combo. And the tag is a little confused too. I'm not quite sure what it's trying to be besides just a big beat stick. I guess a big beat stick that happens to have shot attack?
Yeah, maybe an outfighter weapon per se. At most.
So.
High firepower tag is just increases everything that you should care about.
Guns. Ooh, from everything you've told me today, that might be a doozy.
I hate the guns. The guns are crazy.
Provided this is probably the best in slot duels that we can have with the best in slot trait combo for Rob.
It is.
But 20%, as you've just told me, is kind of a wild downside.
Yeah, if you get hit, you get hit for a lot. That's not a...
Every 5 things that hits you is one free thing hitting you. Doesn't sound great that way.
And it's... Yeah. But the stats, though, if you sub one of these to itself, it's a monster. And the tags are clearly good.
Hold on. 11, 8, you know, hey there, whiteboard. Thank you for participating. 11, 8, 21, 5, 3, 3, 9, and 29.
It will transfer almost 4k. This is like a 16k weapon, no issue.
I'm about to make a lot of people sad. Oh, not that one.
Okay.
Where's the build project one?
Oh no. You're gonna make a lot of people sad indeed. It's... yeah.
You know what? The stats are pretty damn comparable. All you're really losing out on is
something that needs a bit of luck.
Yeah.
You lose armor, you lose shot defense.
But not that much.
And not that much, but
and the traits are safer.
Yes. Well, I would say that they are safer, but they are also harder to trigger. You get locked to 2 tags instead of being locked to 1.
Yeah.
So it depends a bit on what you're building, but yeah, they're both solid options.
Also, like we said before, the twin rifle pool for Ace high firepower isn't great. You're getting the best value out of
availability for subs is just non-existing.
Now rifle,
it doesn't even have a 1/100. It doesn't even have a 1/100 sub.
Rifle's gonna be great
this build. Yeah, you can grab Grandpa rifle 1/100. It's already 30% transfer, no issue.
So all you people crying about your double Zeta rifles getting outclassed, there's still hope. It's not the end of the world compared to Jagd Arche. And unless I'm forgetting something, I think we've kind of rounded out all the content for the week on here.
Yeah, unless you want to, let's see, we got the alterations, we got the build circuit, which was skill and ended pretty fast.
Yeah,
I
Battle
think that this
Circuit
is
second
mostly
week
it.
wasn't terribly exciting. Unfortunately, the changes made to it. Not a fan. No, I think it's a good recap for people who want
So
to
yeah,
get a second take on the things coming in the week. And we can
exactly.
see you
We can
next week for the same
also,
thing. Mm-hmm.
wait, wait.
Waiting.
We also forgot something. We
Eh.
also have in the notices the preview for the next week. We got already for the standard banners. We're gonna get Mina and the one from the Juliet
Oh, damn.
thing.
Mina's pretty recent. I ended up lucking into a full set of that only on a few rolls. Mina has a lot going on
Yeah,
for
and
her.
we got a preview. Mina and Julia.
If there was somewhere to dump your standard tickets on a standard suit, that's not pilots, it would probably be on one of these second gen standards like Mina. Or if Type F comes back. That is a
Yeah,
really solid
Mina is a
choice.
good bet. And even Julia has a damage straight hand, which is pretty nice.
Julia has some great traits built across its entire body. It's just a shame the stats are kind of meh, and its EXs are equally sad. But the traits it does have are staples.
So yeah, we have that. The next arena is close combat, which would explain both of these suits. But
Yep.
let's see if there are previewers to something else. Who knows?
It's not some kind of crazy algorithm conspiracy divination. It's probably just for the close combat arena.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Julia. Let's refresh myself
So
on Julia real quick.
Yeah.
That's a good EX head. I know a lot of people who are trying to run that, and close combat and high mobility are a great combo.
That had saved me a lot of problems on tag building for a while, because close combat in a lot of builds is just a free slot.
Yeah. I know plenty of people who have gotten Julia head specifically just to make that work. Now, with the age of everyone holding on to double boosts, it's slightly less valuable, but not everyone has those double boosts. Not everyone can be Livelance.
Yeah, it's there. Or not everyone can be Helios or, well, GNL. GNL was just such a dope suit.
You've been waiting a long time for that. Yeah. I'm glad you got it.
Oh god, it looks so cool.
I think we've done the laps then.
I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. Then we did.
And I'll do this again come next reset. And I'll probably have Damien with me to go through the weekly banners and events and see what we can find. And I'll see you again, sir, next week for the next redive where we go back over the weekly content with a fresh frame of mind. Thank you, everyone who watches this.
So let's hope we get some fun.
This has been GNL Redive. If you want to join our chat live or catch the next one live or just find a nice community to learn and play with people who appreciate this game as much as you, check out discord.gg/GBM. GNL New Type Labs, your place for tips, tricks, stats, and strats. Thank you all. You've been excellent.
See you later, everyone.